time. She doesn't have it on yet.
And you stay as long as you like. If you're going to chat, you got to sign up for public.
How are you? Nice to see you. Let me see. Holy cow. Let's do another one. Hold on.
How to take selfies?
Do you know how to take a selfie? How many years ago was that?
3. Pronounce your last name.
Lures. Now, can you put this over in the mic?
We have a meeting soon.
I'm sorry? I need some stuff for mine. Oh, absolutely. You have a list of elected officials? Okay. All right, welcome everyone to our City Commission meeting. We've got some seats in the first 2 rows if you're in the back and waiting for a seat. I'd like to call it to order with a roll call.
Mayor, yes.
Okay.
Mayor Brooks,
Here.
Vice Mayor Carter,
Present.
Commissioner Vignola.
Here.
Commissioner Simmons.
Here.
City Manager Goodrum.
Here.
City Attorney Hearn.
Here. So at this time, I'd ask everybody to please rise. And please share with us in a moment of silence for the 17 lives that were lost on February 14th and the 2 young people that lost their lives recently, Sydney Aiello and Calvin Desir. Thank you. Ethan Peterson, if you'll please come on up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ethan is a 4th grader at Maplewood Elementary School.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, Ethan. Thank you.
Thank you.
We got a present for you.
No, he'll come to you. Just wait.
As I led the pledge in Coral Springs. Congratulations. I'll figure this out. All right, thank you so much. And please shake everybody's hands on the dais, okay?
Just in the front.
In fact, my office is the same time.
So we're waiting, how many of you, is this your first city commission meeting ever? Yeah, thank you, Ted. Well, welcome. It's great to have you with us. Great to have you with us. So this has been requested by Vice Mayor Carter to recognize Justin Kahn. Justin? Come on up, Justin.
So the city has a special recognition for Justin. We want to congratulate you on your athletic accomplishments and wish you luck and success in all your future endeavors, including this summer's International Triathlon Union World Championships in Switzerland. Your dedication Your dedication to training and the sport of triathlon is an inspiration to all. We could look like this.
Thank you.
Congratulations, bud.
Vice Mayor, why don't you join me for the next one? No? The Lynn Johnson Award? Is that cool?
I'll read them if you want me to introduce.
Absolutely.
And then Lorraine is going to be assisting and coming down to help with the awards.
Perfect. That'd be great. So we are recognizing some winners of the Lynn Johnson Award, and Dale will tell you a little bit about it, and Lorraine will be handing out the awards.
So good evening, everyone. We have a lot of wonderful volunteers in our city. They support us all year long, and every year in the month of April, we like to recognize them, and we have a commemorative award for honoring outstanding volunteerism for the Lynn Johnson, who was previously a longtime volunteer in the city. So as a member of the Customer Involved Government Committee, Lorraine Campbell is the co-chair. She's going to help hand out those awards tonight, and I'm going to have the opportunity to give you a little background on each of the people who will be recognizing. So the first person we'd like to call down in the Youth Making a Difference category is Juan Gomez. Juan is a student at Center Academy Prep School in Coral Springs. He has been a city volunteer since 2016, and for the past 6 months, he's been dedicating his time to the city's building division. Carlos is a hard worker, very focused on the task at hand, whether it be sorting or filing clerical records, making copies of building plans, or purging files. He helps because he wants to and often gets so involved in what he's doing, he doesn't even realize it's time for his shift to end. Carlos' commitment and devotion are greatly felt and appreciated by the building staff. Let's give him a round of applause. And we're going to get out of the picture. Yeah, I'm not going to. You go ahead. Our next winner tonight actually couldn't be here. I think she's doing something much better. I hear she's on a cruise ship somewhere. But in the Seniors Making a Difference category, the winner this year is Barbara Cox. She's been a city volunteer since 2011. She dedicates 2 hours each week to the Communications and Marketing Department with organizing and scanning hundreds of photos, newspapers, various historical records for their digital database. In those 2 hours each week, she scans up to 300 records. Barbara is extremely efficient at what she does. Her efforts have been instrumental in preserving historical documentation for the city. Barbara also volunteers at the Police Department Fleet Division, where she assists on various projects and provides administrative support. Even though she's not here, let's give her a round of applause. We'd like to call down Carlos Gomez for Working with Youth in Sports category. Carlos has volunteered over 70 hours of his time to the police-run Summer Break Spot program, a camp for underserved youth. He is a camp counselor there, and through his love for sports, he has mentored children on the soccer field. Many of the children at the camp do not have an opportunity to join recreational league sports, and his leadership on the soccer field has been invaluable. Carlos also has made an impact on middle school and high school youth students through his participation in a public safety announcement for the police department regarding the opioid crisis. Oh, he's the star from the movie. This video has been shown at various schools to help educate and warn students about the dangers of opioid addiction. Let's have a round of applause for Carlos. Where's Sean? I don't see him, but I'm reading. You're going to hold them all up? They can go back. We're going to take a picture. Do a group picture at the end? Okay. So our next winner I'd like to call down is Sean Kahn. He's being recognized for committed to enhancing city services category. Sean joined the fire department's clinician response team nearly 2 years ago. He is a licensed mental health counselor and is committed to the well-being of all members of the public safety team, which includes personnel from police, fire, and dispatch, as well as administrative staff. Sean takes time out of his private practice and family life to help individuals and employees get the help they need. He has made himself available whenever the need arises, no matter the time of day. His dedication has made an impact on city staff and volunteers, and this is especially true for those who have been affected by the MSD incident. Sean is also a member of the Coral Springs Emergency Response Team and has assisted the team on multiple occasions. He is a dedicated volunteer, and his devotion and time are truly valued. Let's give him a hand. No, one more category. I know there's a lot of words in there, but we're going to give everybody their moment in the sun. So our last volunteer to be recognized tonight for the Enhancing the Lives of Coral Springs Residents category is Laura Lopez. Laura has been a member of the Coral Springs Multicultural Committee for over 15 years. She has dedicated her time in multiple committee events that include World Fest, National Day of Prayer, and especially the International Dinner Dance, where she has donated her talents and resources to design and create table centerpieces for the event. Laura has a love for our community and camaraderie with fellow volunteers and city staff. Her commitment and dedication are greatly valued and appreciated. Let's give Laura a round. No, we're good.
So it's wonderful that we recognize the volunteers. How many other people here volunteer for the city? Great amount, great amount. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do for our city. Our volunteers make such a big difference for our city. And if you haven't volunteered yet, please consider volunteering in one way, shape, or form. Our community is such a great way to be involved, and it's a great way to contribute and be part of something larger than ourselves. And these volunteers have put in a lot of hours and a lot of heart. And you saw a couple of young people. If you're young, you want to get involved, we'll take you. So thank you very much. Our next recognition is for the Police Department Employees of the Year. We're recognizing Supervisor, Officer, and Civilians of the Year for 2018.
Okay, I'd first like to recognize our Civilian of the Year, Pam Marvinentes. Pam's a fantastic employee. She's a traffic accident investigator for our department. Her kindness and compassion is on display with everything that she does. Our department frequently gets emails, calls, and letters about her compliments for Pam for everything she does for our community.
I'm hearing some voices. If you'd give the chief your undivided attention, thank you.
Thank you. Over the past year, Pam responded to 727 vehicle crashes. She's the friendly, compassionate face you want to see if you're involved in an accident. She calms everyone down and does her job in an outstanding manner. In addition to her duties, Pam helps with crime prevention and community outreach. Over the last year, she personally distributed over 1,700 community outreach and crime prevention flyers and volunteered countless hours with community events. Pam also assists our humane unit by taking calls when they're unavailable. Last year, she handled 324 animal-related calls. During the course of the year, Pam was recognized by Mothers Against Drunk Driving for her efforts in combating DUIs. Pam's also an active member of the Crisis Intervention Team, where she's a valued member, and that team, as you know, was used a lot during the last year, and she was very helpful with all of that. She was recognized as one of our Civilians of the Quarter during the past year, and she embodies everything that you would want out of a high-performing, quality employee. And it's for that reason that she is this year's Civilian of the Year.
Very complicated, I'm sure.
Okay, this year's Officer of the Year was unable to make it. Actually, he was able to make it, but his assignment prohibits him from being here. Sometimes he has to act in an undercover capacity. I will give you a brief description as to why he is the Officer of the Year, and it's Detective Jason Carter. Jason's assigned to a child exploitation task force. During the course of the year, Detective Carter participated in 36 FBI operations, which led to the arrest of 33 child predators. Through these investigations, he's personally located 4 Coral Springs residents who were classified as human trafficking victims. His compassion and dedication to the community is evident while he's on and off duty. While he was off duty this year, he jumped out of his car after he saw an elderly man being struck by a vehicle. He provided medical assistance and helped save that guy's life. In addition to that, Detective Carter was shopping at a mall outside of our jurisdiction where he witnessed a robbery. He sprung into action, apprehended the guy, and for those actions, he was awarded our Exceptional Police Initiative Commendation. He was already named Officer of the Year by 2 other organizations, the Broward County Crime Commission and the Broward County Chiefs of Police Organization. He completes the trifecta by being our Officer of the Year for 2018. If you could, give me a round of applause for him. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Thank you. And finally, I'd like Sergeant Ed DeRosa to come up. Sergeant DeRosa personifies everything you want in a progressive leader. As a sergeant of the General Investigation, he has his pulse on current crime trends that affect our city. Sergeant DeRosa utilizes intelligent-led policing. He organized 13 surveillance operations, resulted in numerous arrests and his recovery of stolen property. These operations focused on criminals who were targeting our city. His efforts led to a marked decrease in business burglaries, residential burglaries, vehicle burglaries, airbag thefts, and auto thefts. One of these cases led to a statewide RICO prosecution by the organized group that was operating in our city. In addition to this, Sergeant DeRosa is one of the first responders that responded to the MSD tragedy. He helped clear the school and helped attempt to locate the shooter. Sergeant DeRosa is also a critical stress debriefing team leader. Obviously, he was utilized a lot over the last year. Sergeant DeRosa spearheaded the 3, 6, and 9-month debriefings for our officers who were affected by the MSD tragedy. He's a kind, caring, compassionate supervisor who's always there for an employee in need. It's for those reasons that Sergeant Ed DeRosa was named Coral Springs Police Department Supervisor of the Year.
Vice Mayor Clark. Folks, good work to you. Thank you so much.
Brett.
Good to see you again.
So today we are going to have a proclamation for Holocaust Remembrance Day. Yom HaShoah is the day for communities to gather and commemorate the dark period of the Holocaust as we remember the 11 million individuals who perished, including 6 million Jews. We need to ensure that those who survived those horrors can live their remaining days in dignity and in comfort. The history of the Holocaust encourages us, are you joining us? Please. The history of the Holocaust encourages us to reflect on our moral responsibilities to prevent such incidences of hate and prejudice from taking place in the future. We applaud the efforts that individuals, societies, and governments are devoting towards this cause, as well as the efforts to better themselves through education and awareness. Unfortunately, there still is a lot of work to be done. The City of Coral Springs commits to say, never again, and to work to promote human dignity by confronting intolerance and hate. We'd like to present this to you. One moment. That's pretty much what I said. Thank you so much for all of your efforts in helping us fight hate and intolerance.
On behalf of Temple Beth Am, which is in Margate, but a lot of our congregants are from Coral Springs, we appreciate the recognition that the City of Coral Springs has made with this proclamation. We invite all of you to come May 1st at 7 p.m. when we're having our program. As the years go by, fewer and fewer survivors and eyewitnesses to what happened during the Holocaust are left. And we recognize that during this program we're going to have many survivors that are still members of our congregation speak and tell what happened in their lives. So we welcome everybody. We thank Coral Springs tremendously.
Oh, picture.
Official.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Go that way? Okay, thank you. Rick Engel, you'll come on up for the next recognition. Rick is not here, so who's doing it? Casey. Okay. I'm happy to read it. So we are recognizing Arbor Day 2019. Hi, Casey.
How are you?
Good, nice to meet you in person. Arbor Day is a great time to plant trees as they reduce the erosion of topsoil. It cuts heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, cleans the air, produces oxygen, and provides a habitat for wildlife. Coral Springs, a Tree City USA for the past 34 years, encourages all residents to contribute to the health of their community by planting a tree. The City of Coral Springs will commemorate Arbor Day at the annual Earth Fest event at the Sawgrass Nature Center on April 27th. Casey, would you like to share anything else with everybody?
I would just like to ask you all to come out to EarthFest. We'll be giving away over 500 plants, natives, butterfly plants, and it's a great day because you can also get into the Sawgrass Nature Center for free. And this is Dottie.
Hi, I'm Dottie Molsky. I am the retired executive director of the Sawgrass Nature Center. And I would also like to thank the city because after all of our hurricanes, they have had a tree subsidy where they endowed money for us to replant trees that we lost in our canopy after the storms. So thank you, city.
Come on over for a picture.
Thank you, everybody.
So if I can have our leadership team come on down, and the commission, we got a special recognition of the vice mayor. So we are recognizing our vice mayor, a fearless leader with a lot of passion, a lot of heart, and she's always telling it like it is. I appreciate that, and I'm enjoying working with you. Your fellow commissioners commend you for fulfilling the role of Coral Springs mayor due to the unfortunate and untimely passing of Mayor Skip Campbell. Your contributions as mayor pro tempore allowed the city to keep functioning at its highest standards without any interruptions. We all appreciate your commitment to our city, and we all thank you for your service. Thank you very much.
I just want to say something about the leadership for the city of Coral Springs. And it's not just me, it's everybody up here. Anybody given the task or given the job would step up and do it because we all love what we do. And thank you for the opportunity for us to work for Coral Springs.
Very nice. Thank you. Button. All right, I'm buttoned. You don't have to shake everybody's hand. All right. Thank you. I see at least one of our former commissioners, Ted Mena, is or was here, so I'd like to recognize him and thank him for his service to the city. He's not here at the moment, but I'd like to give him a round of applause. We also have with us Judge Navarro from the 17th Circuit here in Broward County. Thank you for being here. Would you like to come say hello? Thank you, Judge.
Thank you
So you can be at the mic right there.
for having me. It's such a pleasure to be out here with all of you and to the city and Mayor Brook. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm a big supporter of your community, and my heart goes out to you. I sit on the Children and Families Division, so anything that has to do with children and families, I'm here for you. I like to go out to the communities and tell everyone I do have an open door policy if you're having any issues, if you need a judge or someone from the courthouse to come out or to speak or to give lectures on domestic violence or any of that, please, open door policy, feel free to reach out to me. And I'm just so impressed by all of you and your awardees and your law enforcement. Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. I'd also like to recognize Commissioner Mike Udine. Welcome, come on up.
Good
Thank you
evening.
for your leadership.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Brook, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, your esteemed city manager and city attorney, and great police chief and fire chief who I see here. One of the great things about serving is I get to represent the city of Coral Springs in my district. You guys have so many amazing resources that flow to me whenever I need them. I call on your professional staff all the time, the chief and Chief Babinek, just very true public servants in every sense of the word. So it's my honor to be here today. I came out tonight not as a county commissioner. I came out tonight more as a friend and supporter to the 17 families in Parkland. Over the last 14 or 15 months, I think we've all seen strength, humility, passion, sorrow, leadership, and friendship from a group of people that never looked for the spotlight, that never requested to be thrust into the spotlight, but who's been put there and who's handled themselves on all sorts of issues, whatever your political persuasion is, with dignity, with grace, with humility, and with a belief in God. And I'm proud and honored, not really to represent them, although I am proud and honored to represent them, but I'm proud and honored to call them friends. And I'm proud to serve them in any way that they need to be served as we move forward. And I'm here to be with them as a show of support and support them in their endeavors as we all as a community try to heal and move forward. And I think the city of Coral Springs has done such a fantastic job. The Temple of Time that we have across the street, I get people, elected officials from all over the place, up to including the governor. And I said, you know, before you come to Parkland, you please go and look at the Temple of Time and spend a few minutes there. And there's been a lot of people that I've sent there that have been in the area. And it's truly a reflection on the love that the city of Coral Springs has for its residents and for its family. So thank you for allowing me to be here tonight, and Godspeed with all your work.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge there are many parents here that lost loved ones on February 14th, and our hearts are with you all the time. My thoughts are with you every day. This commission and the city, they're committed to you, your well-being, your healing, and your family's healing, and we're here for you. And thank you for being here tonight. Deborah, will you let us know who the assigned speakers are?
I have 8 signed speakers at this time. The first speaker is Stephen Conti.
So just as the speakers are, come on up, Stephen. So as the speakers are coming up, I'd like everybody to be aware, especially if this is your first meeting with us, while you may speak in public comment, it's not required for any one of us to necessarily address your question or concern at the moment that you're here. We kind of reserve the right to do so later in the meeting when it's commissioner and mayor's comments. So please understand that we don't intend to be disrespectful. If you don't get a direct answer then and there, sometimes you may, sometimes you may not. So welcome. Stephen?
Yes,
Welcome.
thank you very much. Good evening, city officials. Thank you for having me here and share with you the reason I'm here.
And Stephen, if you could give us your address too, please.
Sure. My address is 8802 Northwest 56th Street in Coral Springs. I've been a resident for over 30 years. The reason I'm here is to present a proposal to establish a miniature golf park within the city of Coral Springs. In 2015, I responded to a city RFP that was put out in regards to the Sportsplex location. This proposal was well received and approved in principle. However, it became subject to the ice skating rink's possible expansion, which I believe now is no longer under consideration. This proposed plan would be of no cost to the city, and I feel it would be a gift to the city because it would help promote and build strong families, as it is an activity where it could be shared by all ages and they could spend quality time together, family and friends. I think this integrates beautifully within the surrounding location and it would create a scenic view from Sample Road and the park entrance. This would be owned and operated by PGA and LPGA professionals, as my wife and I are the owners and directors of one of the most established golf academies in South Florida. We've been there for 23 years with a proven track record. We have 3 children, all go to Coral Springs schools, very active in sports programs. I have a copy, an overview for each of you that I'd like to present to you.
Clerk.
And on a side note, since my RFP 4 years ago, several cities in Palm Beach have more or less adopted this similar model, and they're experiencing a lot of success and receiving rave reviews from their residents and the general public. It's my hope that the city would reconfirm its interest in my proposal, which I feel would be a tremendous asset to the city of Coral Springs. And again, I thank you for your time and allowing me to speak and present this.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
The next speaker is Rob L. Last name begins with an L.
Rob Allures, I believe.
Right here? Right here?
Right there. Right there's the mic.
If I could have some volunteers to hold up the fence sections, or they go around the perimeter of the park.
May I please have your name and address for the record?
Yes, it's 9360 Solstice Circle.
Rob, while you're doing that, I just want to recognize, I had my first mayors for the day as the new old mayor, and one of the mayors is still here, so Madison McEwen, would you just stand up for a moment? Thank you for being mayor for the day.
We got some more over here, guys.
Rob, I need you to get started.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hello, everyone. Before I start, I want to thank Mayor Brook for his leadership and commitment to this project, and especially Stacy Kagan, who supported this park from the very beginning. In 2012,
Rob, the clerk still needs your address.
I gave my address.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. I apologize.
I'll get you back.
Sorry.
In 2012, my wife and I were living in Connecticut when a murderer shot and killed 20 children and 6 adults at Sandy Hook Elementary School. 6 years later, we moved to Parkland, and as crazy as it seems, the tragedy struck again, right down the street from Lori's house. Our community lost 17 amazing people, and we're still heartbroken. But that's when I started thinking about what I could do. I didn't want to sit on my hands. But to me, it's a tall order because I've never seen the country truly honor who we lost on the same scale of any of the tragedies that we've have so far. I think we owe them that. I don't want to do anything small. My background is film and production. I've been in production for over 25 years. I believe that a story well told is the most inspiring thing there is, because whatever Bible you read, song you love, or series you binge watch, it's all rooted in a great story, and that's what brings us together like nothing else can. I'm about to share with you this extraordinary tribute park that's also a very inspiring film. A film that will include issues exploring mental illness, school safety, and the real stories and authentic stories of who we lost. We have Oscar-winning producer Dan Cogan, who's agreed to finance and produce the film, and I have Oprah Winfrey, who has agreed to narrate the film, so financing for this park will be handled. Now, what engages people is the hook in this film, that we will travel across the country and collect unwanted firearms.
Rob, I will allow you 1 more minute.
But that's not the hook at all. What this park will be made of is 1 billion times stronger than steel, and it is unbreakable. What this park will be made of is the love that we have for our children, and that is the strongest bond there is, because here in Coral Springs, that is what we cherish most. You can bring the park down.
Rob, do you have anything to hand to my colleagues on the dais? Okay.
So if you guys can gently tear that off, that's a picture, double-sided picture of the park.
Got to turn it the other way. Okay.
You're going right here, guys. Right here, right back here. Yeah. Put it right on the desk. Yeah. Go forward. Okay. This is Tribute Park. It's peaceful and beautiful, like something you'd see on the cover of a magazine. A place where people of all ages and beliefs can come together and hopefully heal. The park is a free-flowing sculptural playscape set in an oval design with 360-degree integrated seating. The entire park is ADA compliant and will be surrounded by 17 hand-forged custom fence sections in honor of the 3 staff members and 14 students we lost, as you can see all around our room here. In the center of the park is additional seating in the shape of a heart.
Rob, I'm sorry, I have to cut you off. Maybe somebody else can assist. I'm going to ask the commission to consider workshopping this because I'm sure they'll have questions, and there are a lot of details that's hard to share in 3 minutes without being on the official
I thought it was
agenda.
5. I was told 5.
We wound up having 5.
Sorry?
I'm estimating that you had 5.
That's straight here.
Yeah, we beeped you once. I am a supporter, and I need to keep the meeting going.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker, hello. Our next speaker is School Board Member Lori El Hadef.
Welcome, Lori.
Lori Al-Hadef, 8675 Watercrest Circle West, Parkland, Florida.
Thank you very much for your leadership on the school board, and I'm sorry for your loss again.
So I'm your school board member, but I'm here today as a parent, as a mother. This May 1st would have been Alyssa's Sweet 16. This May 1st, I have to go visit Alyssa at the cemetery. This May 1st, I have to celebrate her birthday with cupcakes at her gravesite. This tribute park gives me and the 17 a happy place to go to remember our loved ones. Thank you.
Randall Cutter.
Oh, yeah.
Randall Cutter.
Dale or somebody, there's a light that's kind of in our way. I don't know if it's Jacques put it there or Rob. Thank you.
Randall Cutter, 9551 Northwest 39th Court. Mr. Mayor, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney, Clerk, all esteemed, every one of you. I'm here tonight in my role as the co-chair of the Clergy Coalition, but before I do, I just wanted to say to the parents that are here, my personal best, my heart goes out to you. And I understand that the help of the community is vitally important, and I'm so glad that you're here and that this community is willing to help. I am here to represent, well, first of all, I wanted to mention I was at the public safety grant writing event yesterday, at least for part of it. I know it was sponsored by Congressman Deutsch's office, the City of Coral Springs, the Coral Springs Police Department, and the Coral Springs and Parkland Fire Department. It was very well done, the part that I attended. Thank you for sponsoring it. What it did for 501c3s was show us a bit about how to be able to apply for the grants, to be able to make our places safer also on that theme for this evening. On May 2nd, we are having our National Day of Prayer, the Clergy Coalition in association with the Multicultural Advisory Committee. And I know there's going to be a proclamation on the morning of May 1st. However, that's short notice for the city and for individuals to be able to come on Thursday night. So I wanted to come before you tonight and just to remind you and the city, 7 p.m. at the charter school, we are coming together, the Clergy Coalition along, and with the help of the Multicultural Advisory Committee, to be able to come together as a diverse community. A whole variety of different faiths come together. The kids pray. It's usually very fun, very cute, and a beautiful event where people are able to say, this is how we do it as we come together to bless our community. And it's a great event where we are able to appreciate each other's differences while at the same time joining together and asking God to bless the city, our state, our land. And so I wanted to invite everyone at the charter school, May 2nd, 7 p.m. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
My next speaker was actually Judge Navarro, but I believe that they're no longer in the audience, correct? Okay.
Spoken and gone.
The next speaker is Scott, it looks like Shakespeare.
Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. one's got to another. My name is Scott Shakespeare. I live at 9998 North Springs Way, Coral Springs, Florida.
It's a little hard to hear if you can get closer to the mic.
Sorry about that.
Thank
Is
you.
that better?
A little better. It's not great.
Any other comment? No. All right. I've been a resident here in Coral Springs, oh, it's better, for close to 25 years now. I'm standing here to share with all of you my support for this tribute park to be located here in Coral Springs. I've had the privilege to sit, to listen, and speak with many of the family members who sit with us today of their own very personal tragedies, an evil that presented itself into their lives on February 14th of last year. As I've listened to their different views when they spoke of their losses, as well as their own positions to correct this terrible wrong that was done, and trying their best not to allow it to rise its ugly head again. But what has been so impressive to me, which stood out above the sorrow and the loss, has been the beautiful togetherness I've witnessed and felt. This support is their healing, the love of each other, as well as all others around them, is always being shown, whether individually or together, privately or publicly. Most importantly, this demonstrates for me, and hopefully for all of us here, to both feel and to see the strength reflected in their own resolve. And this kind of strength always heals. They are the embodiment of what this tribute park must always represent and reflect. To be the light in these days of seeming darkness, to always reflect hope. So I hope that an understanding can be accomplished by our own city commissioners panel, all of you folks, of what this park really is and what it will do for our own communities together, and the message it will spread throughout the country and the world, that healing together is the strength that binds us, far above any disagreements that may try and divide us. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Fred Gutenberg.
Welcome, Fred.
Thank you for having me, and I hope you all are well tonight. I'm here also to speak in support of this park. In August of 2017, I actually had the opportunity to go to the World Trade Center 9/11 Memorial with my entire complete family. What that means is my brother was there and my daughter was there. It was actually the last day my brother ever made it out of the house before the cancer that he got from his service in 9/11 eventually killed him. He died a few months later. For much of my extended family who joined us at the 9/11 Memorial, it was also the last day they saw my daughter, who was murdered in this community. But here's the thing about the 9/11 Memorial that I'll never forget, and that sticks with me when I look at pictures now. It was a day of healing for my family. We knew what was coming with my brother. We didn't know what was coming with my daughter. It was a place for my family to heal. And what you all need to know about that memorial, if you haven't yet been, you should go. It reflects every ounce of the terror of that day. It reflects every ounce of the destruction of that day. But it also reflects the American spirit. It reflects healing. It reflects a place and a community that moved forward. You all know New York real estate. There may have been more profitable ways to use that property, but there was a visionary out there who said the community needed more. That's what I see in this park. This community was rocked. My brothers and my sisters over here now, they're my family. We are in this together. We wake up every day and go to sleep every day trying to figure out how we're going to actually just get out into the community every day, because our lives here are no longer normal. But you know what? Thinking back on what that 9/11 memorial means to so many families in this country, this community, all of you up here have the chance to be visionaries. You have the chance to do something that won't only matter to our families and to this community, that may matter to the country. Without being political, we all know what's happening, but let's flip that on its head and create a place of healing. Let's flip that on its head and create a place where families can go and commiserate together, be emotional together, and heal together. I thank you all for your time, and I look forward in the future, if you have any questions, to being able to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mitch. I'm not going to,
Dwyer.
DW, thank you
Dwyer.
very much.
Yeah, so just for all of the speakers on whatever topic you're here on, I would invite you to stay until the end of the meeting. Again, as part of our par for the course, how we run the meeting is we have city commissioner and mayor comments later in the meeting. So you may have questions asked or comments at that time. Again, my colleagues could do so at this time if they wanted, but we're not required to, and please don't take it as being disrespectful from us. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Mitch. Welcome.
Thank you very much. My name is Mitch Dworet. I live at 9986 Northwest 23rd Court in Coral Springs. I've lived in Coral Springs for over 20 years. I own a home here. My children, Nick and Alex, went through the school system here, Parkside Elementary, Coral Springs Middle, and Douglas. I was a coach here of soccer. Both sons went through the swim program here and at the aquatic center. They love to skate at the ice den. My son Nick was taken from us at the shooting on February 14th. I love Coral Springs. It's been a dream living here. I'm just so proud to call Coral Springs my home. Now, to reflect, I visit the Temple of Time. I sit at the Peace Walk. But when I saw the vision that Rob brought to us about 8 months ago, I was like, wow, that took my breath away. What a place to reflect on what happened and honor all 17 people who we lost that day. It's forward thinking. I thought it was very beautiful, and there are aspects of it that Rob can further explain to you. That would be healing. I'm looking forward to a place like this, Tribute Park, if not that specific park. I think it's very important. I'm hoping it's that park. That's why I'm standing here. I didn't get a chance to thank the police officers and the fire department and you all for having me here.
We're happy to have you here.
I appreciate that. There was so much more I had in mind to say, but I just appreciate all of your support as a community, and I think that's all I have to say today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Johanna?
What was the name again?
Johanna, it looks like Manhaffey or Mahaffey. Are you in the audience? Okay.
My name's Johanna Mahaffey. My address is 9939 West Atlanta Boulevard, Coral Springs, Florida.
Welcome, Johanna.
Thank you. My brother is Aaron Feiss. My family's lived here for 26 years. I just have a comment about the park tribute for the 17. I just wanted to ask if you know if all the families were asked of how they feel. I know that my family wasn't personally asked, and I know that we all feel differently, but all the families are so amazing and so respectful of everything, no matter what we feel. I just think that all the families need to be asked, because I know that it was brought up to me, and it was said that my family was asked, and I spoke to my brother's wife, and she hadn't heard of it. So I don't think that's appropriate. I'm also concerned about this being used to benefit off of the death of our loved ones by getting some type of career-boosting awards for film. I would also like to mention that the tribute park is yet another painful reminder of what we go through on a daily basis. In 5 years, for most people, it will be a sad thing. But for us, it's never going to go away. I do, however, think that a tribute park is a good idea and that it will bring community togetherness. I just don't know if the way that this is going to go about, as far as having the Netflix show and things like that, because it's not as closely tied to us, because those people don't live here, and it didn't hit them like it hit us. So I just want to make sure it's done in the right way and respectful of all the families, because I can't imagine losing my child, because losing my brother was one of the hardest things that's happened in my life. And that's all.
Johanna, we're very sorry for you and your family's loss. Thank you for coming up.
Tanya Marie.
Good evening, everybody. Congratulations, Scott Brooks and everybody on the panel. I'm Tanya Marie. I lived in Coral Springs and been here, gosh, forever, since my daughter, Ashley Daniela, went to 2nd grade in Coral Springs Elementary. So to all the parents that are here, and I have met some of you, I am sorry for your loss and for your brother's loss. I personally am a mother, and I just want to stand up here and tell you I'm so sorry for your loss, but this community, like you said before, has come together, and I just want to show how Coral Springs, sorry I didn't say where I live in Lake Placid, Florida. My address is 908 Primrose Street in Lake Placid, Florida, which is 2.5 hours away from here. I come to help out the city because I love Coral Springs. And my kids grew up here. My daughter and son went to Coral Glades High School. And I just want to put an issue to the park that more is to be said about the park. Unfortunately, Rob wasn't able to tell you everything because his time has stopped. But it's more a park of healing, not remembrance of who passed, but more in the healing process for everybody who can come, because I'm not a parent that lost their loved one, but I've been affected all the way 2.5 hours from here because this is my city, and it happened in Parkland and in the city of Coral Springs, for it's going to be like a healing park as well. But I just wanted to end with that and just let everybody know that my heart is with all of you folks and for this project as well. Thank you.
Tanya. Thank you very much.
The final speaker I have is a minor, so please do not tell me your address. Daniel Tabaris.
Hey, Daniel, welcome.
Hi, my name is Daniel Tabaris. My address is 5...
Don't tell me your address.
You're a minor. We changed that rule.
Okay.
Don't give your address.
Oh, by the way, I'm 18, so I'm not a minor.
Not a minor.
There you go.
But still, I won't say my address.
Age.
We'll take your address.
Okay. I am a sophomore at Stoneman Douglas and a representative for the March for Our Lives Parkland, now called Empower the People. Today, I want to share to you all my thoughts in building up this wonderful tribute park. On that hard day, we suffered as a community, feeling these different emotions such as grief, shock, anger, and sadness. We're still recovering today. For this reason, we need to take action. Building up this park will unite our community as one and have this community provide the leadership in healing. By doing this, we will be able to spread it to other communities and bring them, as well as us, hope. 2 reasons why we should construct this amazing park is because, 1, by building up this park, we're paying a tribute to those 17 angels that have fallen on that day. By doing this, we're inspiring each other. We're inspiring to do what's best for them as well as us. I understand it could be difficult, but every single day we arrive at that park, we are reminded that there is still love in this community, and we are always remembering our 17. Second, it helps to heal. Telling their stories and sharing their stories around the world shows this community that we're still spreading with positivity. And each time we tell these stories, we're taking away this grief, anger, and sadness that we have inside little by little. In summary, we should move on to build this park, to help people heal, to help remember those who have fallen, and to show this world and how we can respond to tragedy. Thank you very much for listening.
And Daniel, I want to say thank you for being a leader, not just amongst the students, but in our community. Thank you so much. Any other signed speakers?
No, Mayor.
Okay. You are still welcome to come and be heard if you have not signed up to speak. Matt, would you like to be heard? Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney. Just wanted to take a
May I
second.
please have your name and address?
Sure. My name is Matthew Gotha. Address is 495 Northwest 107th Avenue, Coral Springs. For those who don't know, Skip Campbell was my uncle. And Skip Campbell was more than an amazing attorney. He was more than a great senator. He was more than a great mayor. He was my mentor. He was a second father. And I wanted to take a moment to thank the city who supported my family and stepped up and was there for us. The commission, some of you know that you were there. And I want to give a special thanks to Chief Babinick, to Chief Perry, City Manager Goodrum, and our City Attorney, John Hearn. They went above and beyond to help my family, and it will never be forgotten, so I wanted to thank. My uncle, for those who know, was a very stoic man. He didn't show emotion all that well. I've probably seen him cry twice in my life. And one of those times was probably about a week or so after tragedy at MSD. Once he had gone to all the funerals and once the reality of what happened set in, I saw my uncle cry. And it really shook him to his core. My uncle passed away on October 23rd of 2018, and about a week or so after my uncle passed away, my sister called me and she said, I think I know how I feel. She said, I think I feel vulnerable. And I think that was a very perfect way to put it. And I think it's true for all of us, because whether or not you knew it, Skip Campbell always had your back. He made sure that people didn't have to feel vulnerable. It was never about the money. He always wanted to make sure that the little guy had a voice. He was truly a fighter for those who didn't feel like they had somebody who would fight for them. I know that my uncle would be a full supporter of this project. So I ask on behalf of my family, and I'm on behalf of men I know looking down on us today and tonight, that the commission will hold a workshop, iron out the details, and let's build this beautiful tribute to these 17 angels who deserve it. This is the least we can do. Thank you for your time. And
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to have a workshop on the tribute park.
Mayor, just so you know, I think there may be more public comment.
Can't vote until it's over.
Well,
Is that
we're in
correct?
the middle of public comment, just want to,
I'm just making sure that we
Yeah.
cannot take a motion at this time.
unless the commission wants to overrule it, that's not how we would do it, correct?
Okay, we'll continue public comment. Would anybody else like to be heard? Scott, come on up. And again, please give us your name and your address.
My name is Scott Bagoon, 5504 Northwest 58th Avenue in Coral Springs, Florida. I wasn't prepared to speak, wasn't asked to speak, and felt that it was imperative to speak with the showing of support from the families, the work that Rob has put into, and the families that I see here supporting, and also acknowledging the considerations with regard to the Feist family as well, all well and understood. I just wanted to impress upon you the importance of a decision associated with this, where Coral Springs has the opportunity to step up on behalf of healing. There are 17 families, 17 different directions, 17 different motives. However, I've seen unity among the families. I've seen pictures on Facebook where they come together with dinners, they come together speaking, they come together to support each other. And where we haven't had that healing opportunity yet, Coral Springs has an opportunity to step up and do something that will unify the community, unify all those involved, and provide a place to move forward, to have a healing, reflective place, and to have a place where it's no longer a stop on a corner by a high school. It's no longer a thought here or there. It's no longer just a passing tweet. It's some place where people can reflect, and bigger and broader than this community, not just consideration with regard to what this township can do for itself. It's what it can do moving forward with regard to affecting change and thought and progress, and also taking consideration and honoring and remembering similar tragedies that have happened over the course of years and decades. So I just want to implore that the commission take the consideration seriously and also see beyond just the community, the healing factor associated with this for the families and also for other people across the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott. You may come on up.
Mayor, it's my fair Mayor, Commissioners, I'm standing today as a.
May I please have your name and address? Thank you.
You bet, sorry. Ryan Petty, 7256 Northwest 127th Way, Parkland. I'm standing today just to make sure that the City Council and Commission understand that all of the families are not yet united in support behind this proposed park. I think we are all in agreement that we need a place for healing, a place to remember our loved ones, but we're not all yet convinced that this is the mode or the method or the memorial that will represent all of our loved ones. And so I wanted to make sure that that was clear tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ryan, and we're sorry for your loss. Would anybody else like to be heard from the public? Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to have a workshop for the commission.
I have a question. When is our next workshop, scheduled workshop?
Commissioner, as we discussed at the last retreat, we're having a follow-up retreat next week. This was one of the items that the mayor had brought up on the list, so it would be scheduled to be discussed at that time.
So is it necessary for us to even have a motion on that if we already have one scheduled? I'm trying to figure out if we don't need to make a motion on anything if we already have one scheduled.
So let me share with you a little background.
Okay.
And with the citizens that are here and watching. We had a retreat recently, and at a retreat, hopefully we share whatever we can, different priorities that each of us have. It's in the sunshine. And unfortunately, we ran out of time. It was scheduled to end at 5, and we concluded about 5:45, and I only had time to share 2 items. And for me, the Tribute Park that I've learned about maybe in early March for the first time. I really wanted to chat about that with you guys before tonight. And then I had asked the city manager's office, let's see if we can complete the retreat before tonight, because I don't want you to be surprised about, a presentation. Matter of fact, that's actually one of the things we talked about, Larry, was not to be surprised. And the city staff worked very hard to try to coordinate our calendars to complete the retreat before tonight. We couldn't do it. And yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't, they couldn't coordinate all the calendars. So for me, I have a great sense of urgency for this or something like it. I certainly want all of the families to be heard. I'm grateful that, that many of the families are here tonight. I have a great sense of urgency to do something sooner than later for our 17 families and for our communities. And for me, it's not just Coral Springs, because our adjacent community, Parkland, was affected. It's our communities. It's both cities. We're 160,000 strong, and I think we're a lot stronger when we're united than not. For me, I have a greater sense of urgency for this healing and the memorial and to help us all move forward, because we lost 2 more lives recently that was related to MSD. And one of the things that I think is so important for all of us to get, all of us in the community, is that there is trauma that has been impacted for many people here. And with that trauma, we've got to address the trauma as best as we can without there being any kind of stigma that somebody needs any kind of mental help. And a big aspect of this park and the film that Rob has in mind at this juncture concerns mental health, and it needs to be addressed. So yes, will I be bringing up the Tribute Park at the retreat? Absolutely. But I am asking for a motion, because if you all have questions, and you should, I imagine you would, I would rather have those questions addressed openly, as opposed to at a retreat when Rob's not there. So if the retreat, if you're saying, cool, let's have Rob there at the retreat, I'm all in. He can answer your questions, other people involved. But that's why I'm asking for a motion.
No, I understand. Please. If I may, I have a background in mental health therapy. So I understand the issue of trauma and, incidences that, it lasts longer than just the actual day of the event, right? And for the families out here, if I have not gotten an opportunity to meet you, I apologize. It just didn't happen. But for those of you that know me, you know that I fully well understand what we can do as a community, what we've already been doing as a community. And I think if we are to have any kind of memorial for your children, it should not be rushed. It should not be rushed. We need to do it. I'm not, thank you, but I'm not trying to do it for an applause. But I think when we're doing something we want to last for a very long time, that we want it to be something that is healing, that does speak to our understanding of the situation, we want to make sure it's done right, and we don't want to rush this. And so I don't want us to get into a habit of trying to rush and get things done, especially something as important as this. None of us up here are against trying to do something or anything or have some kind of park or tribute park for this. It's important to have that, because when none of us are no longer here, we want these names to still be remembered. But we can't rush this. And so if we have a workshop already scheduled, I'm more than happy for us to talk about it there. And if the commission wants Rob to come, and Rob, thank you for meeting with me. I know we talked at one of my office hours, and I told you I thought it was a wonderful idea. It was very interesting, but I also asked you to be patient with us. And I'm still asking for that so that we can do this the right way. And that's what's important to me. So if we already have one scheduled and we can put that on the agenda, I'll be more than happy to discuss that at that juncture. So I'm sorry we couldn't get the extra retreat done before today. But, you know, I'm a teacher, man. Hard to get off sometimes. So.
I hear you. I hear you loudly and clearly. Yeah, Larry, and then you, Joy. Okay.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Sorry. I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that by the county, there has been a MSD committee, memorial committee established. And actually, Mr. Montalto is one of the members of that committee. We've only met once. The committee just got formed and we just started. There are a number of people on it that I can't remember everybody's names, but I do obviously remember his. And there was some discussions about what to do, where to put it. But just like Commissioner Simmons said, this isn't going to be rushed. This is something that has to work for everybody. And Mr. Montalto was very expressive about some of the committee ideas that they brought up. He's like, no, that doesn't work. But in the end of that meeting, everybody agreed on one thing. What was important to every single family? It wasn't about what we wanted or what the county wanted, but it was what is important to every single family. So that will be the baseline of every discussion. And just like we said, something should be done. The question is what? You know, the city of Coral Springs has 51 parks right now and 33 playgrounds. So we have to take that into consideration when we're talking about where to put something else. We are built out. There isn't any more land. I met with Rob as well and went to ask the staff if we had 4 acres for this park. We did not have 4 acres. We have soccer parents that are screaming at us for more field space, and there isn't a place to put it. Now we're looking at how to upgrade our fields so we can get more playtime on them. So there's a lot of things involved. It's not that we don't care, and it's not that we're not interested, but it does need to be well thought out. Mr. Mayor.
So about how much time do you think you need?
I'm not in charge of the committee. It's Leslie Fordham.
No, I mean in terms of having any of your questions directly addressed.
As far as the park?
As far as the tribute park that's been proposed by Rob Lures and supported by many
Actually,
families.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to wait and
And where families
see.
have questions.
I'd like to wait and see what the MSD committee directive is, what the ideas that they come up with, because they were established by the county. I mean, there was like emails that went back for 4 or 5 months before we got all these people together, and they're putting forth the initiative now. And again, their baseline is what do the families want, and it's all the families. It's not just, you know, Mr. Montalto.
And do you know what their next meeting is?
I'll tell you in a minute. June 2nd, 3rd, it's a Monday.
So, Mr. Hearn, how can Rob be heard by all 4 of us?
Has to be at a public meeting.
Okay, so any objections to bringing Rob
Can I
to the
just,
retreat?
just a point of
we met
clarification?
with him.
I stated that we have a meeting next Wednesday, that this was a topic you had requested to have your workshop items on there. It would not be inappropriate to have somebody there that can answer questions. So it's next Wednesday. It's when we have it scheduled.
Great. You available next Wednesday, Rob? Great.
I do just want to make a point of clarification. Earlier, the statement was made that retreats are not open. Retreats are open to the public. They're noticed to the public. The public can come. So I just want to be clear with that, that we do not have any meetings that are not open to the public.
Yeah, if I said that, I'm totally mistaken. That's not what I meant to say. So you'll be there. And all the families can be there. It is an open meeting. We'll see. We'll see. How much time do we have scheduled?
Mayor, the meeting starts at 5. It does not have a time to end.
Great. We're going to have time. It's important to all of us. Thank you very much. And I thank all the speakers for being here about everything, including you, Stephen. Thank you. Okay, let's move forward. And thank you for, wait, did you want to say something else?
I just wanted to say that retreats are all our meetings that we have. I know years ago in the city, they used to do them out of town, and not necessarily open, but all our meetings, the way we've done business, is they're open according to state law.
It was open back then, too. Okay, let's go on in the agenda. We're on the consent agenda. Are there any pulls?
Yeah, I need to pull item 12. Is there any, Mike, is there any one that can speak more to item 12, or?
Anything from you?
Nope. You can move the balance.
Commissioner, you're waiting for an answer to something?
Yeah, well, let's just see if there's anyone that can speak to it. If not, okay.
Okay.
But before that,
Yeah, so
I'll go ahead and
before
move the
that,
balance.
great. The rest of the consent agenda has been moved by Commissioner Vignola. Can I second it? I can't.
Sorry, second.
No.
Thank you. Somebody's paying attention.
Oh,
It's been seconded. Thank you. There we go. It happens, it happens. And my phone is around somewhere, Randy. I heard it beep. Yeah. I heard it beep. I'll find it at some point.
We have a motion and a second, Mayor.
Yeah, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Carries unanimously. Okay, now we'll hear on item number 12.
Oh, is it nearer? Yes. Yes. Hi. Could you tell us a little bit more about SHIP and what does that even stand for? What does that mean?
It's a State Housing Initiative Partnership. It's a grant that we receive from the state government, and we receive that annually
Okay.
directly from the state.
Okay. And is it normal for there to be, I guess, I kind of broke down the math a little bit. Is that like pretty normal to have at least 22 homes a year that receive some type of repair or some type of assistance from
Yes.
this program?
Mhm.
Okay. And with the increase, what are you hoping to, I guess, see with the increase? I think, what is it, from 35 to 40 now?
Correct.
40,000? What are you hoping to see with the increase of the, I guess, amount being able to be awarded?
Absolutely. What we've discovered and kind of learned throughout the last couple of years is that with the increase of construction prices, with roofing and impact, I mean, the end goal of addressing homes with SHIP funds is to make sure that the house is hardened and safe and hazard-free. And what we found in the last little while is that with the increase of construction costs, that we often with doing the roof and impact windows, that we're exceeding that 35,000. And just by reviewing those past projects, we're seeing that if we increase it to 40.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry, there's a lot of commotion in the back. If you'd please speak outside, it would help us. Thank you. Thank you, Larry.
And that if we increase it to 40, it would definitely help us to address homes that need it.
And when I was going through the language, are you able to answer how, I guess, how often is the full amount awarded to someone that goes after, I guess, the SHIP funds?
The full amount of 35,000?
Yeah. Or the 40,000 or 35 or?
Yeah, so we tend to hit that 35 mark quite often, and that's, the reason as to why we would like to increase it, so that we can not just walk away with only doing the roof and not addressing the full property.
And as it stands, this is only for home repairs, correct?
Correct.
And is it for specific ages or, disabilities or?
It's all ages. It has to be a resident-occupied home, and we do have a set-aside, 20%, that goes towards people with disabilities to make sure that we're reaching out to everyone. And 30% of those funds are also set aside for very low-income residents.
Okay. Thank you for that. And I know the budget is like 167,000 or something like that, around that, right?
This past year, correct?
And is that pretty standard, or, you know?
No.
No.
That was pretty low, very low, actually, compared to most recent years. I would say on average, it's typically between 500 to 700,000.
Really? And then would that be because of the Sadowski funds being a little more limited than
Correct.
normal?
Correct.
What happens with the Sadowski trust funds? Can you speak to that a little bit, or?
I can. I don't have all of the information with me right now. And it's really just a matter of it being funded or not funded, and whether often those funds tend to be reappropriated, and that determines whether or not SHIP is fully funded each year.
Well, it would be helpful if the Sadowski funds were, to stay there and be used for these programs instead of being used to balance a state budget.
Yes.
Okay. So if the budget is drastically lower, less homes, I guess if we're increasing the amount, less homes will probably be able to get, or I guess
We
less
will
homes
address fewer homes. However, we also use home funds, which we receive through the county. Those are federal funds. We receive those through the county. We also receive CDBG funds through the federal government from HUD, and we use those funds to address home repair as well, as well as other items. But
And my last question, as far as purchasing assistance, basically a first-time homebuyers program, we are not currently doing that.
we don't
correct?
currently have that program. We
Right.
have in the past. The most recent time that we did that program, it was extremely challenging based on the housing market versus the program guidelines and the income requirements.
But when was the last time, I guess, it was offered? Around what do you remember?
Well, we had NSP funds through the government, Neighborhood Stabilization Program. We received those funds in 2008. The last property that we were able to purchase was in 2016, I believe, and it was quite challenging. It took us quite a while to be able to find someone that was within that income category and a property that they would be approved for.
Right.
So as of right now, staff is doing research into kind of, different banks or different nonprofits that we can work with that would be able to help us reintroduce that program.
Okay. So as it stands right now, it's more of a either or. So it was like we'd either have the purchase assistance or home repair.
It
So right
doesn't
now,
necessarily have to be either or. Of course, that would be a matter of how, funds, how much we have and how much we receive. If both are possible, then absolutely we would love to do both. But we'll have to see based on funding and based on program, I guess, feasibility.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great program.
I guess move to approve item 12.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries 4-0. Thank you. Next is policy formation and direction, number 17, purchase of various vehicles. Rich Michaud. Good evening, Rich.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. The city's capital improvement program has a annual fleet replacement program, and that item is before you this evening. Just to give you some background, the city has a rolling stock of 710 vehicles, and this year we looked at 126 vehicles that are up for replacement, and that criteria is based on age, mileage, and general condition of the vehicle. A team of my fleet staff, the budget office, as well as various departments met. They reduced that list of vehicles to be replaced from 126 down to 84. And the item before you tonight is the award of contracts to multiple vendors for the purchase of 84 vehicles. Initially, it's a request to purchase 58 vehicles from the Florida Sheriff's Association contract, an additional 20 vehicles from the Florida State contract, and an additional 6 vehicles from a bid called Sourcewell. So collectively, it's 84 vehicles at a total price of $2,585,403.83. We request the commission to award contracts to those various vendors this evening.
Any questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Vice Mayor first.
What's the average life of a vehicle for us?
Depends on the category of vehicle, but one of our police car, for example, would be about 7 years, 70,000 miles to get the usual lifespan.
Yes, thank you, sir. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a lot of vehicles, 84. So that's, what, I guess, so we're obviously replacing these vehicles because the other 84 that we're replacing or that we don't have, I guess, they're falling apart, the repairs are being too expensive, you know, I mean, this is a lot, right? So I was just kind of trying to get a little more of a background as far as, you know, why we are trying to purchase so many vehicles at one time.
It's an annual purchase that comes to you around this same time every year. As I mentioned, the fleet staff does use a criteria, a condition assessment sheet, where they look at the vehicle and determine whether it's reached its useful life and whether continue keep it in the fleet would be more costly than to go ahead and purchase new and depreciate that over the life of the vehicle.
Okay, and I noticed that I think there was just maybe one electric vehicle, I think, that's being requested.
Correct.
Granted, I know that I saw a lot of pickup trucks and, you know, very big vehicles on here. Did you also look into hybrids as well to be added onto this list or any?
Actually, the Nissan Leaf is replacing a Toyota Prius.
Mhm.
So we're going from gas electric to all electric in that case.
Well, that's one, but out of like, you know, the other 83, did we look at options as
Yeah,
far as
there-
hybrids?
There are
and-
limited options under these contracts for all electric vehicles, and the range and the use of these vehicles has to be tailored to the user department to make it really an efficient purchase.
Okay, thank you. I just want to let my commission know, I have a bit of an issue with voting for 2.5 million worth of vehicles, but, you know, I'll let the commission will be done, so just want to let you guys know that.
If I could just address that, we have a proactive fleet replacement program to where, you know, some cities are in the position of the vehicles run themselves into the ground, and then they are out of service so much, and then your fleet staff is not efficient because you need a significant higher number of fleet mechanics and staff and benefits and retirement to keep them on the fleet. So the way we do it and the way Rich has done it, in part of our accreditation program looked at this area as well, was that we replace them before they get to that point when they still have auction value, replacement value. Another thing we do, which is fiscally responsible, is we budget a replacement fund to where the commissions, some years we're purchasing 85 vehicles, some years we may be purchasing 20. And so there is a fund that we contribute into every year to balance that out to where our fleet is, because we want our fleet to be able to respond, you know, whenever. And so that's, I completely understand it's a large purchase. Every couple of years, it kind of turns out that way to be a large purchase. But our staff does do a really good job of ensuring that the right vehicles are being replaced and that we're doing it in the fiscally responsible manner.
Okay. And thank you so much for explaining that to me. That actually makes me feel a little bit better. Yeah. But I also just, you know, please be mindful of looking for vehicles that are the hybrid or electric, you know, persuasion. Because I recently had a meeting where we could possibly, and I think I mentioned this to you, we could have gotten funding for our fleet building if we had a certain amount of efficient, you know, energy efficient vehicles. So just, you know, if we can, I know you said there's restrictions under grants and things like that, but if there's any kind of wiggle room that we can find, let's please look for it so we can continue to open ourselves up to getting free money. So thank you. Thank you, Rich. Thank you so much for putting the work into this.
Thank you. So, this is not a budget amendment, right?
No.
Okay.
It's approval.
Any further questions? All right, is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
3-1. Carries 3-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're on to item number 18. This is Resolution 2019-013, reappointment to the Firefighters Pension Board of Trustees. It's a request to approve and adopt Resolution 2019-13, reappointing Dale Posdra to serve as a city representative on the City of Coral Springs Firefighters Pension Board of Trustees. It's a request to approve and adopt.
I'll move it.
Been moved?
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries 4-0. Next is Resolution 2019-014, reappointment to Police Officers Pension Board of Trustees. Dale Postra. It's a request to approve and adopt Resolution 2019-014, reappointing Juan Robbie to serve as a city representative on the City of Coral Springs Police Officers Pension Board of Trustees. It's a request to approve and adopt.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Next is Commission Communications. I'm not going first, although I'm listed first. Who'd like to go first?
I can.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
I had received a request for a proclamation or recognition, I can't remember what it was, but it was for Airbag Recall Month, and I had asked that the staff forward you guys the information in the letter. It was a brief paragraph, but May is National Safety Month, and they wanted our assistance in educating drivers on critical recalls. Most dealers are offering free inspection checks, and so I was asking for your support to award. It would have to come from this meeting because May is the next meeting.
I'm happy to give you my support.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody else?
Huh?
You have mine as well?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, so number 2, Earth Fest and Arbor Day. The city of Coral Springs was named 2018 Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation in honor of its commitment to effective urban forest management and for demonstrating environmental improvement and a higher level of tree care. I know when we look up from these high buildings, you see a lot of trees. So, Coral Springs residents, let's celebrate. This Saturday at Earth Fest, join us at the Sawgrass Nature Center from 9 to 1. Coral Springs residents with ID can get a free tree or bush as supplies last. So I hope to see you out there at the Sawgrass Nature Center this weekend. And I wanted to let everybody know that in the past, the city has had an alert system called Code Red. And that contract is expiring in June, so we are moving on to a new alert system. And I think it's called Alert Coral Springs. And you, even though you're on Code Red, you have to sign up for the new system. And you will have the option to decide how you want to be notified for, it could be weather, it could be a missing child, it could be danger, it could be anything. If you want a text message, if you want a phone call, but you will have the ability to control those not getting 3 a.m. phone calls that we all got last year. So please do go and sign up at www.alertcoralsprings.org. And if you'd like to speak with me anytime, 954-998-4186. My office hours are next Monday from 4 to 5, and I'd be happy to meet with you. Joy Carter at coralsprings.org. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And just to let you all know, in case you forget and need to add something later, you can always do that. So just tug on me or call me, no problem. All right, Commissioner, would you like to go next?
Sure. I guess the first thing I would like to, kind of ask the commission, for a recognition as well for Kendall Williams, who was the young lady that died in a car accident that first Monday of spring break a few weeks ago. I attended her funeral, and I met with her family, and they actually reached out, to ask for that. And I know we kind of mentioned the process of the so I'm still learning that part. But I would love if we could, do something for her and her family. She was a leader at her school, a leader in the community, and I would just, as we were trying to do earlier, any kind of piece we can give families and show any kind of overture we can show. I would love for us to do that. So I hope I have your support.
Yes.
Thank you. All right.
Okay. All right. You got all of our support.
Thank you. I also want to say thank you to Congressman Ted Deutsch. We met a few days ago and just talked about a couple of things and potential projects that we could work on as the city and with his office to benefit obviously Coral Springs. And so I just wanted to say thank you to him and his staff for being kind and welcoming and giving me some of their very busy time to pay attention to our wonderful city. The next issue is for any small businesses out there or any business out there that wants to protect the environment and show how much they care about the world, we are encouraging you. I know the Office of the Economic Development Office, as well as the Chamber of Commerce, are going to be reaching out to businesses and finding businesses who have taken steps already to be more environmentally sound and friendly, and we want to promote them and support them. And if you are a business out there who has already taken some of those steps, please reach out to us and let us know so that we can support you. Any other businesses that are have questions about that or anything that they can do, again, reach out to us. We are encouraging you to look at more sustainable options to run your business, and we would love to be a partner with you on that. Another one, the June 18th election obviously is coming up. We'll be here a lot quicker than it seems, and soon our last seat will be filled. And just continue to go out and let people know about this election. Please get out and vote. Please make sure your voice is heard. Please make sure that you participate in the greatest democracy on the planet. In an upcoming event, you have the Savor the Notes Jazz Brunch coming up April 28th, 11 to 3, right out at the Grand Lawn. It's going to be a great event. It's always a good event. It's a good time with the family. Just come out and enjoy and fellowship with fellow Coral Springs residents. And, lastly, I just want to take a moment to kind of talk about some of the things that I'm seeing regarding this, regarding some of the candidates and people running for office in this city. Coral Springs is a extremely beautiful place. I am so encouraged and proud when I hear and meet people who are connected to Coral Springs or who move to Coral Springs, who want to be a part of Coral Springs. I travel around and I am in awe at times of the people that I meet and how connected they are to this city. And so when anyone decides that they want to help continue to make the city be wonderful, and they are throwing their name out there to run for office, we shouldn't meet them with disparaging comments about their race, religion, background, anything like that. We have to get away from that. We are much better than that. This city is built on families, our public safety departments, our schools. We are a welcoming community. And so I would encourage anyone, if you get wind of anyone being disparaging and they're not promoting the values of this city, please just pull them to the side and tell them to do better and be better. Coral Springs is a city for everyone, and everyone should not feel and people should not feel demonized or treated like the other in a place that they have called home for decades. So please be mindful of the things that you say, the things that you share, the comments that you like. Please make sure that we are promoting really everything that the city is about, because we truly do have everything under the sun. And saying anything otherwise completely disrespects what we all do up here and what all of you give to this city. Thank you.
I would echo those sentiments. Thank you very much. Commissioner.
I wanted to say a few words about Friday night's ceremony we had here, an award ceremony, the police recognition, to honor the officers that were on the forefront of the MSD response. Chief, as I really can't say enough about both our public safety departments, but I have to tell you how you've handled everything since, and how you handled that award ceremony and everything was truly amazing and hit on every emotion you could possibly think of. And I want to thank you for your leadership, for your department, and for our community. Kind of flipping a little bit, I don't want to talk too much tonight. Tomorrow, we're having an event here that we used to say is unique and something that was only done here in Coral Springs. We have the Teen Political Forum. But it's actually spread. We had a former student that worked with me on this committee that did one up in Alachua County, did a county-wide one, because the amount of students. We have the city of Coconut Creek, one of our neighbors, is also doing one, I believe, on May 6th. So it's cool. It's something neat that teens from our area get to come in, pack into the Center for the Arts, and ask elected officials from the area different questions. We see you know, elected officials in our community, I think, are a little different than a lot of other areas. A lot of other areas, the elected officials care about the seniors, and the seniors vote. And that's the thing. And we're trying to encourage our youth to get out there and vote also, and to have their voices heard, because decisions that we make will have a much longer impact on our young folk than they will on people like us, right?
That's right.
So, yeah, well, that's weird. There was a time where I was the youngest commissioner, by the way.
That was a long time ago, wasn't it?
It was, and there were a lot of jokes about that. But you know, I want to thank you guys for participating and being a part of the event tomorrow. We'll also have County Commissioner Michael Udine, State Representative-elect Dan Daly, which is kind of still odd to say, empty chair. School board member Lori Aldeff, our commission. The program will start at 7. Seating will start at 6:30. There'll be free food for the kids. We actually have a lot of food this year. We'll have some raffle prizes, and the kids will get service hours, and they'll have an opportunity to go ahead and ask their elected official questions and get answers. And one of the unique things that I kind of do, I know every year we get usually about 1,000 kids or more, and not every question gets answered, but I usually try to get to everyone within 24 hours. Anyone who goes ahead and tweets at the @TeenPolForum on Twitter or hashtag #TeenPoliticalForum. So if you have a teen out there, you want to go ahead and get them involved. Our new state representative-elect, Dan Daly, actually got his start in politics by attending this event, I believe, for the extra credit that his teacher was giving, and now look at him go. So if you have a teen, tomorrow, Center for the Arts, try to make sure they're there by 6:30. I want to say hi to my daughter Ava, who just texted me telling me that she's watching. Hello, Ava, I love you. And if anyone would like to reach me, feel free to call me on my cell phone at 954-632-7544. I want to wish everyone happy holidays this weekend and happy Easter. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. You too. Very good. You see, I have a couple of things on the agenda. First thing I'd like to ask for is unanimous approval for another recognition, the Sun Sentinel won a Pulitzer for its coverage of the MSD tragedy. So I'd like to recognize them for winning the Pulitzer. Okay? All right, we got that. My second set of office hours dealt with suicide prevention, and that's something that you know is dear to my heart. I would like us to undertake a marketing campaign to help eliminate the stigma that's associated with seeking mental help. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I'd ask for marketing to give us a proposal of what that might look like that would not necessarily be, you know, that taxing on staff, but certainly make a difference. And if we can save one more life, if we can encourage one more person to seek mental help for whatever their issue may be, whether it's related to February 14th or not, I'd like to do that. Approved? Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I have office hours. I've got office hours on May 6th from 4:30 to 6 upstairs, May 14th from 12 to 2 upstairs, and Friday, May 24th from 8:30 to 10 a.m. at a local coffee place to be announced. So we'll see which one I go to. Hopefully we'll know in the next couple of days. It's great to be here and be working with you again and be working with the public and staff. And Catherine, I will always now remember your name. I'm sorry that I had forgotten before to introduce you to my mayor for the day. So if I have forgotten your name, please be patient with me. I'll get there. I need a little bit more time. There is a My Coral Springs app, which I learned about in the past week. So I urge, go ahead, Joy. You can interrupt me. You got something to share? I'm so sorry. Go for it.
They said I gave the wrong date for Earth Fest. I thought it was
Okay,
this
you can
weekend.
correct it.
Okay, I apologize. It is April 27th from 9 to 1. I thought it was this weekend.
All right. Good. You can
Thank
always
you.
correct
I
yourself.
apologize.
No problem. No problem. So I would urge you to download My Coral Springs app, and literally it's My Coral Springs. Download it, and I'll share with you one thing though I would like to add, because I didn't find it when I looked today, is under events to please put the commission meetings. So when you click on and you see event, the first thing it shows is Senior Empowerment Meeting and the Coral Springs Craft Guild monthly meeting, and it shows the Teen Political Forum. but I would like to show the city commission meetings under events. I'd like to encourage more people to be here. And that's why I'd like to talk more about this at the retreat, but I'm sharing it now. I'd like to talk about moving the meetings come September from the morning to the evening. And the reason for me that I'd like to move it from the, well, a few reasons why I want to move it from the morning to the evening, is I think we'll have more people. I think we'll have more engagement. I think we'll have more unity and more community. The four of us also work primarily during the day, and while it's an opportunity for some people to get here on a different time, I think the greater opportunity exists for many more people to come to an evening meeting. And so I'd like us to consider that and speak more about it at the retreat, pros and cons. I put something out on social media. There were a fair amount of pros, there were a few cons, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Happy to hear them now.
So my major thought would be staff time. So I would, you know, since you're saying September, that gives us plenty of time to investigate and see what staff time for overtime would be for 2 evening meetings. One, I happen to like it the way it is, one morning, one night, but I'm flexible too. So I would like, if staff could look into, you know.
What the cost is of overtime for them to stay for a second meeting.
Right, I mean, obviously they're here in the morning anyway, but is there a difference by adding that second meeting for nighttime? What is that what's the relativity from being fiscally responsible?
Great question.
Thank you.
Comments? No?
Talk about a workshop.
You got it. Okay. I'm suggesting we have a pre-burn event. I hear from a lot of people that they don't understand why there's a burn. They'd like it to stay. Obviously, that's not the purpose of the temple, for it to be everlasting. My idea for a pre-burn event is to potentially have all 17 families represented, invite the community, have 17 seconds of silence, again, hold hands around the temple, and just kind of prepare our community for what is occurring on May 19th, in advance of May 19th, and to invite the city of Parkland and its leaders to join us.
Again, staff time, that's a concern of mine, because for the event, we could do the same thing. I understand what you're saying, that, you know, explaining to people why, but it can also be explained at the event why we're doing it. I mean, it has been in every post that we've put out there, it's been that this is a temporary structure, it's not gonna survive a hurricane, and, you know, the whole point of it was, that's why we're going in there and writing our thoughts and, you know, concerns and hurts, that we're going to burn them and hopefully they will diminish a little. I don't imagine they'll go away, but, you know, at least a little bit. I just kind of think between all the events that we have with the downtown and Savor the Notes and everything, I think some of our staff is a little overworked on putting together all these events, so.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons we'll be talking about a marketing committee at the retreat, too.
Okay.
Go ahead, Josh.
Mike, could you speak a little bit towards the program on the 19th? Do we know what that looks like yet? May 19th for the burn event? Do we know what that looks like yet? Not yet? Everybody, come on.
It's a combination with marketing and Susan, but there would be, instead of just coming and burning, there would be some acknowledgement of what it represents, some explanation, and some opportunity for reflection before the actual lighting. So I think what the mayor is asking would be incorporated in the program for the afternoon.
I got you. Well, I hope that if possible, I mean, I like the idea of the 17 seconds, and you know, if we could kind of maybe combine them, that would be, I think, a great, efficient use of staff time. I would also caution you, Mayor, if I may, I don't think all 17 families are okay with the actual temple itself. So just, I wanted to make you aware of that if you did not know. I know a few have actually expressed that they don't like the idea of it being burnt or anything like that. So I don't know if we want to, you know, promote inviting all the families, you know, to the thing. Because if they're not going to come, we don't want to make it a thing, right, of them protesting or anything like that, because, you know, so I just want you to be mindful.
Yeah, so I think if we didn't invite all 17 families, that would be irresponsible and disrespectful. So if you know in particular one family would prefer not to receive an invitation, I'd ask you to let staff know what family that is, for us to be sure they did not want to receive an invitation, and have the city manager's office do that. I did meet with 4 of the dads yesterday, and they had no idea what was going on in the museum regarding the Scrollathon. And my understanding of Bloomberg Philanthropies and their contributions to our communities is that it stems from what occurred on February 14th. So I think we need to go out of our way that if there are things that we're doing in the city or that are happening in the city and we're aware of it, that helps the healing of our families, our community, that we do make specific invitations to the 17 families. And, you know, we heard from Johanna tonight, who's in the room still, you know, who lost her brother. And, you know, she wasn't contacted about the tribute park. To me, that's not cool. You know, anything that we're wanting to do to help move the community forward, I think we should specifically invite all 17 families. I don't mind hearing from you. I don't mind. You happen to be the lone representative left of any of the families, so I'm happy to entertain your comment or question.
I know that there are a few.
And just, again, just for the record, let us know your name and address.
Johanna Mahaffey, 9939 West Atlantic Boulevard, Coral Springs, Florida, 33071.
Thank you.
Again, Coach Aaron Feist was my big brother. I know there are multiple MSD-related events from the people that. However, we are also doing the second Feist Bowl on that day as well. So if there are any changes. The second annual Feist Bowl. So the Coach Aaron Feist Foundation, my brother dedicated his life to helping kids get out of bad housing situations, whether it's financially or anything else, so they could go off and have a good life through sports or academics or arts. So that's what our foundation gears to. We've actually donated over 200 book bags to Title I schools in Coral Springs filled with school supplies already. So if there is going to be any changes with the burning, if you guys could just let us know so we can make any changes that we need to. So that way, you know, however people feel like they need to heal, they can be at the events that they want to, because it is on the same day, around the same times. So just leave that open. So, and thank you for letting me speak again. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Johanna. Thank you. I appreciate the commentary. I'd like to know what we're doing that's different than we did prior to the March 12 election to enhance voter turnout.
As I stated, I think during our agenda review, a memo is coming to the commission that will lay all that out.
Okay, great. And in that memo, did you get, will you be getting the comments from the CIGC meeting?
I'll check into it.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. City manager's communication.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. City attorney.
Just a brief update on the legislation concerning medical personnel involved with SWAT or SRT being able to carry a firearm if they have their concealed weapon. I think you all got notice. It's kind of been resurrected and is back on track, passing the House bill. There's a companion Senate bill. We'll update you at the next meeting. And that was a bill that this city worked on with the city attorney's office and Frank and Clyde and their office and the legislature, and really it's going to be a helpful thing for everybody that came out of the MSD. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Something else?
Yeah, just to touch on that, I know we received a text that Bill was dead. I want to thank our police chief for going ahead and reaching out and using his contacts he's made over the years to make sure we brought that back to life, and hopefully that'll see its way through up in Tallahassee this session. So thank you.
All right, seeing nothing further, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.